Honourable Dr. Vincent HoSang, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Deputy Principal, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Vincent is a member of MSBM family, and he has been a member for many years now, and he has been a strong supporter of us. He has been a strong supporter of entrepreneurs. And he not just saying he supports, he put up funds, US dollars, and a significant amount of US dollars to ensure that there's a competition for not just MSBM students, but for the entire university. And we really appreciate that. So on behalf of MSBM family, including Vincent, let me greet you all well. And we look forward to an interesting evening with Vincent. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Williams. Just as the correct expert of accountancy, brief and to the point. No questions on the balance sheet, eh? Honourable Dr. Vincent HoSang, our format here will not require, I think, at our discussion. But let me just say a few things as we open. Born on the 5th of August, 1940, in Springfield, St. James, to Mr. and Mrs. Henry HoSang, who had migrated from China in the early 1900s. He was the 8th child of 10, 6 boys and 4 girls. Migrated to America in February 1968 at the age of 27. In 1974, it was a very good year. He met his wife, Jeanette, who is from Spanish Town, and they got married in August 1976 and started a family in 1977. In February 1978, he and his wife bought a fast food store known as Knightsbridge Delight. Kingsbridge Delight, thank you, in the West Bronx, selling fried chicken, shrimp, ribs, and French fries. Today, they are the largest Jamaican frozen food plant in the United States and possibly the world. Throughout his life, Honourable Dr. HoSang, and for the purpose of our interviews, we will just do what we always do and say Vinny. Yeah. Has been a philanthropist, but a lot of the story will come out in the questioning. And Vinny, the book that you have written is an exceptional one. I've read it from cover to cover, and believe me, it is spellbinding. Just to share a few of the quotations from my perspective, I will be dealing more with the softer side, and Dougie wants to find out what's happening on the entrepreneurial side. In one of the sayings, which you captioned, "First strokes on a clean canvas," you said, and I quote, "I live in gratitude for the hard life that came from my humble beginnings. It might have taken me longer to grasp certain lessons had it not been for the benefit of that particular petri dish. It's what ignited in me the fire to make something of myself." You went on to say, "Teachers of different kinds. There were many times in my life when things seemed to be going wrong for me. I have no doubt that it was God at work. He was forcing my hand so I'd make certain choices." Further on in the book, Vinny, I tell people all the time, if you really want to know the value of a penny, go to the bank with 99 cents and see if they'll give you $1 in exchange. They won't. Later, embracing life's flow. Surround yourself with like-minded people, especially when it comes to choosing life partners and close friends. life is an uncharted ocean. It will get choppy at times. Having the support of those who believe in you and think as you do will help with navigating those rough waters. I'll pause here because I think everybody here is sufficiently enticed to want to read this very, very important book. Mas Vinny, in your life, I'll start off by asking you, a young man born out in rural Jamaica, eventually going to Cornwall College, and there you are, a man whose life betrays the fact that you went to Cornwall College in terms of there is no singular in your life, Vinny. Everything, there is no I in Vincent HoSang's life. There's only the plural, it's only we. Vincent, what started you to consider this almost very unselfish characteristic that you have? It's not about you, it's about we.
Ladies and gentlemen, students, it's a pleasure for me to be here. Mr. Solomon asked me, it's not I, it's we. Growing up in Springfield, matter of fact, this Thursday, I'm going to Springfield also, where I grew up at that school. They have moved that school to Maroon Town now. Springfield was a little bit too small now. But I saw my parents operate a store in Springfield. And the residents around him, there was no industry. They were more bartering. I remember when people would come to the store and give my father maybe some eggs, but they need actually things to make dinner, like some codfish or rice or flour. My parents would give it to them. So growing up, I said, you know, if I'm in a position to help people, I will. The good Lord has really helped me. And there were a lot of struggles in my life growing up. And I'll just give you just one. The book will explain everything that I've been through. One of the struggles that I went through was that we started making Jamaican patties, thanks to an older brother who encouraged me to do so. And in America, the regulation is that for you to wholesale a meat or poultry product, you must be inspected by the United States Department of Agriculture. We just started business. We didn't have the money to set up a factory, never mind setting up a USDA factory. Okay, so then I started selling my patties illegally, the way you're selling drugs. I'm serious. I'm really serious. Because I would put one of my workers on the corner, the street corner out there, and says, whenever you see my customer coming, tell them don't stop, the inspector's here. Because I've had so much violation. So that was one of the highlights, one of the struggles I went through. But the good Lord has really helped me. And this is the icing on the cake now, where I found a bigger place. And I got it inspected and ready to roll. And I got a letter from the Department of Sanitation. We need this building for a sanitation garage. We call it, in the real estate, they call it eminent domain. If the government needs that building, he'll take it from you, pay you, and on your way. Well, I said, what is this going to happen now? I'm still selling patties illegally. But the good Lord has really helped me. And today, we have grown to be the largest Jamaican patty factory in the States, if not in the world. We supply over 160 military commissaries throughout the world. And we supply, what I want to instill in some of you students is that I'm in business 39 years now, and it didn't build overnight. You have to keep going and look on your product, whatever. If it's service you're giving, give the best service. If it's product you're giving, give the best product. Recently, about 2 years ago, I said to myself, I'd like to make a better paddy. And I expanded one of my machines. We have 3 machines running. And one of them makes a nice flaky paddy. The other one does not, and the other one does not. So I retrofit one of them. And hold and behold, the sale went through the roof. Right now, we have to be working on a second shift. It's going to show you that you give a good product, and your product will sell. So the book is there. We have the book here. It'll tell you everything from the way I was born in Springfield to where we are today. And I just thank the good Lord for what he has done for me so that I could help others.
But Vinny, the coming back to the book illustrates that it's not only your immediate family. They're not those just from Springfield. There's family all throughout the rest of Jamaica. There was family in Montego Bay. There was family in Kingston. There were family in other parts of Jamaica. And yet, the closeness is something that you were able to maintain. How did that closeness of family and the sense of belonging help you with the resolve that you have had through very, very difficult circumstances?
It's not difficult, Jimmy, because I said the good Lord has put us here. No matter what nationality you are, no matter what color you are, we are all brothers and sisters. And I take a page out of my immediate family. We are 10 of us, and not all of us made it all right. So those who made it has to help the others. So if somebody writes me a letter, for example, a gentleman wrote me a letter in St. Catherine that he needs an eye surgery or something like that, and he needs some money. And I don't even know this guy. I said, we have to help. The good Lord has helped me to progress and be successful, and it's my turn to give back. And again, I have to pay my taxes, but I prefer to help others and pay less taxes. Yeah.
Right, that's a win-win. And as we go through, I'm just going to share a few excerpts from the book, which perhaps consolidate some of those thoughts. And I'll share, Vinny, from page 121, an excerpt shared by your wife, Jeannie, she speaks about the role of family and entrepreneurial family. And it is very relevant to us because Vinny comes from a Jamaican family with all its challenges. She says, it was not easy, those early days as a young family in startup business. It was hard work, keeping our head above water financially while holding it together as a family. I pushed where I saw Vincent was hesitant. When he went off blazing a trail, coming home late and exhausted, I gave him the space he needed. Patience, understanding, and determination. That's what an entrepreneurial family needs to thrive. I wanted to, just building on what Jimmy had shared, Vinny, to just elaborate a little bit more, because it seems that you've taken a principle that started within your nuclear family, the core of the family, and just spread it. It has gone throughout your wider family with King, your brother, and then to your Caribbean Food Delights family.
Well, I'm very happy that my wife sees through that, she gave me the space that I needed, because when you just start a business, you're putting ungodly hours, 7 days a week. And she gave me the space. But at times, I can tell you, she got so frustrated that she said, you don't see the children. You wake up in the morning, children are sleeping. You come back, they're still sleeping. But I say, honey, I got to do it. Somebody has to pay the bill. Somebody has to bring the bacon in. So, but, it's all stemmed from my parents who are so willing to help others that it just passed on to me that I have to help. And the good Lord has really helped me that I just can't thank him enough. He has helped me financially, health-wise, and in every way. And I just want to give back some to all of you who have made me what I am.
As I was reading, Vinny, when I was asked to be a part of our program here this evening, I thought what I'd do is organize my thoughts by the themes that impacted me as I read the book. And as you attribute much of your success to the Lord, I'm going to read from page 203, which was a very important, meaningful part of the book to me as well. And after I read this section, I want you to explain for our audience what was happening at the time when these words were recorded. It says, "I touched a scar on my arm. My parents had sacrificed much to give us a chance. I needed to honor that. I'd worked every day since then to get to this point. Every day, I couldn't give up now. This was not about being rich. This was about the courage to take my rightful place in the world. Enough, I said to myself. Let's get on with it. I got up, splashed cold water on my face, and went down on both knees this time. Eyes closed, I asked God to forgive me for surrendering to fear and turning to alcohol instead of Him. Then I asked Him for the strength to muscle up once again." This was an interesting chapter in the book, Vinny, because I think sometimes it's easy to look on at entrepreneurial success and say, boy, who that man lucky so man? Eh? Or I'm just easy, like Sunday morning. But it's a chapter I'd recommend because it goes to the core of how entrepreneurs are pushed to the edge. Could you share with us what you're going through at that time in terms of the expansion of the business?
Talking about lucky, I remember my manager at the bakery had hired a driver. So I didn't know him. And one day I see him and I says, "I bought some used equipment and can you follow me to pick it up?" So while we're in the truck, he said to me, "But boss, you're a lucky man, you know, sir." I said, "Why do you say that? Your dad left you a good business." But, I want all of you to believe that there's a God, because He has tested my faith several times, many times, and He has pulled me through. He was just testing me to see how strong I am to do that, to obey His commandments. And every night when I pray Him for that. I said, "Help me, O God, to obey your commandments." And you can't go wrong when you do that. The good Lord oversees you from the day you're in your mother's womb to where you are today. He has a road pattern for you. So don't give up. The struggles might be rough, but stay there and it's going to be better.
Right. So there was a time when I read in the book that you went to the bank. And you went to the bank manager and you said, "Listen, we're looking at this new place." And the bank manager said to you, "Well, how many square feet do you have now?" And you told him 2,500. And he said to you, "Well, how much square feet do you want?" And you said 15,000. And long story short, he practically showed you the door. But how did you manage to grow the business in the face of that type of adversity, Vinny?
It wasn't really a bank. It was the SBA, the Small Business Administration. I went to him and, like Doug said, I said, "How much space are you in?" I says, 2,500, not 1,000. "How much space do you want to go into?" 15,000. He says, "We'll never give you that loan." And I says, "Well, thank you." I says, "I know what I need. I map it out already." And he says, "Sorry, you're on the way." But family, we borrowed from family, and especially one of my older brother, King, and he encouraged me to make the patties. And he helped me financially also. And from one step to the next, things had worked out for us. I'm so happy that we're in a position to help others. One thing I believe in, you must give a quality product. And because I don't believe in cutting my corners for profit. I will give you a good product. even though I make a smaller profit. So that's where we are.
Perseverance, perseverance, perseverance. And I quote you, there's a reason New York is the gold standard by which to judge one's ability to survive. Competition here is that fierce. But with over 8 million residents from which to build your customer base, I often wonder if the opposite couldn't also be true. If you can make it here, then you can't. If you can't make it here, then you can't make it anywhere. Why New York, Vinny?
The volume is there in New York, and not only that, what helped us is that in the boroughs of Brooklyn, Queens, Bronx, there were so many of us people, Caribbean people. And that's why I named the business Caribbean Food Delight and not Jamaican Food Delight, because we need all the Caribbean people, and they have supported us. And with so many, in Brooklyn, there's over 1 million of Caribbean people. I know I couldn't go wrong. And that's what made the business that successful. And giving a quality product again and quality service. I'm never too busy to take a call from a customer. When the phone rings, I will answer it if the secretary is not there, because I want to know who's on the other line. And you guys got to follow that footstep. You give a quality product and a quality service, you'll always keep a customer.
I wonder, Vinny, if that started with your relationship with your Uncle Harrison, because there's a very personal side to this book, and I think it's what makes it truly a successful book. It resonates, it reaches the very depths of your soul. You write here, even though Uncle Harrison was all about customer service, he did not seem to like people, and I appreciated his sense of humor. I knew this not just from his short interactions with me, but also from his rough demeanor with everyone else, including his customers. I was convinced his mouth didn't know how to form a smile.
You know, I'm so pleased that you brought that up, because I remember several occasions that we have a customer close by us, we're living close, and the customer said to me, you know, your uncle is a very serious man, he doesn't smile. You know, I'm wondering, how do you live with him? I remember another time, it was early morning, somebody came to buy mackerel. He told the customer, we don't have no mackerel. The mackerel was still there. I should have helped, but I was heading out to school. You know, you're very right that he's a good businessman, but he didn't show appreciation for his customers.
Right, so it struck me that throughout the journey, these were some of the learning points that you took forward into your own business.
Yes, but I saw how he operated. I saw how he purchased product in bulk and all that, and I followed that footstep. But overall, you know, if he was alive today and saw what we have accomplished, he would marvel. Right. You know, yes, truly.
Thank you, Vin. The mountain that almost killed me, talking about moving higher up. And I quote, fire in the belly, it's a tonic for success. Without it, you'll struggle when challenges drain you. Your fuel can be anything. The wish to make your parents proud, the desire to live comfortably, the need to be known as an expert at something. Whatever your drive may be, treasure it. You reached out and said about the Caribbean people. To our young audience here, the Caribbean people are almost aliens. We constantly fight in Jamaica about Trinidad and Barbados, and we don't know where Guyana is, and even less of Suriname. And the OECS don't seem to exist on our map. What would you say to young? New York may not be the only place that they have options. What would you say if, knowing the Caribbean as you do now, you had decided to start there rather than the huge task of New York at one big jump?
In the beginning, as a child, when I grew up in Springfield, I used to see those farm workers that come to America to cut sugar cane. And I remember one time there was one gentleman who came back with a car. And as a young child, I was maybe 8 or 10, I said, my God, America must be a great place. When I grow up, I'd like to be there. So with the influx of people that comes to New York, I don't think I could have gone wrong. And I'm really glad I came here. I struggled, and the good Lord has helped me and showed me ways. He had tested me, and he had pulled me through. So New York is where I think we should have started before, and I did the right thing.
So Vinny, just picking up on that, I was trying to, see for myself if what was one of the probably most important lessons. And I want to ask if this is, of all the lessons taught in this book, if this one is the one that is probably the most important to young people. This is page 79. It didn't stop there. I ignored the temptation of the shopping culture and bought only what was necessary to cover and keep me warm. I owned one winter jacket, one pair of gloves, and one hat. There were no movie nights, no pub stops. I did, however, eventually splurge on my first slice of pizza. I even picked up coins off the ground when I came across them. They were mostly pennies, of course, but I reached for them anyway. To me, it was honest money for which I held noble intentions. Each time I saw one waiting for me, I felt a quiet appreciation for the small gift. None of the sacrifices bothered me. I knew the pain would be temporary. The truth was I enjoyed saving. Each time I found a way to keep my money instead of giving it to someone else, I felt smarter for it. Is a culture of saving, being frugal, probably one of the most important lessons for young people in creating their future?
Is very important, because when I saw the children throwing out pennies, and adults also does that, I said they don't value the penny as money. Maybe, and those days the penny had really value more than what it valued today. So I said to myself, listen, I'm going to pick up those pennies, because I buy a newspaper. It was 8 cents then, and that newspaper gave me a second job. The job I was kind of looking for as the next step in my life. I found a job delivering milk to homes at nights. It was hard jobs. The winter is there, and I did it for about 4 years. But I'm still here, so I'm still alive. So it didn't kill me.
I wonder if it almost did, because I think you shared the time that you were held up.
A couple of times, yes, I was held up a couple of times.
So it's sometimes, again, from a young person's perspective, the grass always seems green on the other side. But it doesn't sound to me, when I go through the book, you went through much more hardship than you would have gone through had you been in Jamaica, in terms of some of the risks you took.
Well, no matter where you are, there's always problem. No matter where you go, you can be held up anywhere. So when I saw that gentleman brought home a car from the United States doing, farm working, I said there has to be some good in the United States. At first, I thought there was gold you could pick up on the street. But when I came, I see it was different. You got to work for it. And I did, and the good Lord has directed my life, and have no regrets, no turning back.
When every step in your entrepreneurial journey, you have mentioned people. Some of those people that have you acknowledge as having helped you were people that you knew a long time ago. And it speaks to what we would call relationship management, keeping in touch, networking, a lot of names that people have for you. How have you managed? Because it has obviously, in times of trouble, there has been some name of the past or of the present that you could call on to come up with the solution that you needed at that time? How do you keep in touch with so many people?
Well, no man knows everything. And especially when you're starting out a new business, you need advice. And there's a gentleman, God rest his soul, he had lived in Canada. He actually had a paddy shop in Old Hope Road. Alan's Paddy. You know Alan Paddy. And when I just started business, I went to Canada, and I had a cousin who was related to him. So my cousin brought me to Alan, and he says, Alan, this is my wife's cousin. He just started a business like yours. You can exchange thoughts with him and try and help him if you can. I took his advice, and we didn't exchange recipes, but he told me what he would put in the product. And when my business was that more successful now, I encouraged him back what kind of machine to buy, and he did. And he never stayed with the machine because he says, my crust is too delicate, and the machine is breaking it up. He never had the time, and then he sold the machine, and now his son, who is running the business, had to buy back a machine, the same machine for a higher price. But again, to answer your question, there's so many, when you live good, you know, you'll always get help. And I'm telling all of you, even when you're in school, if your friend beside you doesn't know the answer, help that friend. I never forget when I was in Cornwall, I had a friend beside me. And
Not in the exam though, Vinny, eh? remember we have the principal here.
And,
Deputy principal.
anyway, I was in Cornwall, and a friend of mine was with me, and the question was how far it is from Kingston to Spanish Town. He didn't have a ruler because you got to measure it, and I loaned him my ruler, and I guessed the thing. He won, and I was lost. So, you know, because I guessed it. Just to show you that, you know, you must help each other. When you call and help, you know, don't turn your back on your brothers and sisters. Remember your brothers and sisters. Give them good advice. Even a good advice. You don't have to give them finance. A good advice. I've done that several times. I never forget when I just started business in 78. A lady walked into the store and says, I'm Jamaican. My name is such and such. How do you start something like this? I told her what to do. She opened a bakery on White Plains Road, made money, and now she's retired in Florida. So, you know, and it still didn't take away from me. My business grew more, you know. Yeah. So remember, we're all brothers and sisters. We should help each other.
You know, Vinny, the answers you give here are kind of personal to me as well, because that networking, that following up on people, that generosity of spirit that you have, has also touched me. I went to have surgery in Florida, October last year. You called me twice when I was in the hospital, and maybe half of the room here didn't even know I was in Florida having an operation. How do you keep that kind of network going? You had an experience of a relative here in Jamaica at the hospital, and you immediately called me to find out, can I do anything to help you over at the hospital? How do you keep that network and that spirit of generosity going? Because this is something that I'm asked the question nearly every day by the students who are here. How do you keep your network going?
We have to keep in touch with each other because life is so short today. I see you today, I may not see you tomorrow. We always keep in touch with each other and says, how are you doing? How is mom doing? How is dad doing? Keep in touch. It's always a great thing because life is short and we're only here for a short time.
I wanted to jump over a little bit to get your perspectives on education. And I'll read from the book, page 43. Just as it's never good to burn your bridges, it's prudent to be kind and considerate to those you meet while building them. In my 3rd year of high school, I had the privilege of being taught Spanish and English literature by a young and enthusiastic teacher. The teacher writes, I remember Vincent for being a keen student, studious and disciplined. He was quiet, even bordering on shy, but friendly. Once you engaged him, however, it was obvious that he was comfortable in his own skin. Students express their skills and develop their capacities in their own way. Vincent would not have ranked in the top quarter performers, nor was he at the bottom. As a teacher, I appreciated him for eagerness to learn. He was one of those students who applied themselves by listening. While he didn't understand, he sought clarification. There are a lot of students who don't perform in accordance to their potential. What made Vincent stand out was that he was one who was aware of his limitations but prepared to give of his best. For that alone, he was a model student. Neither his success nor humility as a grown man surprised me. I saw those qualities in him as a schoolboy. It was a matter of natural progression. Share with us who wrote those words, and then I want you to share with the audience. In this day and age of young people saying, listen, we no longer need education, we just need to jump into the business. What's your perspective? Who shared the words?
That was the Honourable P.J. Patterson.
He was your teacher?
Yes. He taught me Spanish and English also. But what you have to do, is education is a key to everyone. Try and get your education. Because if both of us go there and you have your MBA and I don't have anything, you're going to get a job. However, don't be afraid to work with your hands. There's a story of a gentleman here in Kingston, and I won't call his name, but he went to Canada to work. Well, by telling the story, you guys will know who he is. And he was working part-time in a bakery. And he saw how they're producing, how productive they were. And he called his dad. He says, Dad, I'm not going to finish college. I'm going to come home and show you how to bake. And that gentleman is, he stops today. He's the biggest in Kingston, in Jamaica. And he's a very kind gentleman too, very considerate. So don't think, I remember one time I have a niece that said to me, I don't have to finish school. Uncle Vincent didn't finish school. And he's rich. So don't do that. If you can finish school, finish. I just got a call from a pastor in New York. And he says there's a lady in UWI here who cannot attend school. She needs $2,000. And whatever you can help, please do. I sent her the $2,000. I don't know her. And she's going to continue her studies. We do that because, the good Lord has helped me, like I said, to be successful financially. And whoever I can help. I cannot help everybody, but whoever I can help, I will. And you help one, I'm not looking back for you to help me, but help someone else. And that's the way this world should go around.
Vinny, I think that's a very good point to just about close our interview section and open it to the audience who are very appreciative. I'll close by saying, in chapter 17 at the beginning, you say, it is in the giving that we receive. And I quote you, when you look back on your life and path to success, acknowledge those who helped you along the way. Once you're in a position to do so, honor their kindness by paying it forward. I think that's one of the more profound ways of life, of the many ways of life that you illustrate in this very, very excellent and easily readable and understandable book. So at this point in time, I'm going to open the floor for questions, and I'll just ask if we have a mic for the audience, please.
If before we go to the audience, if I could just give you one example that I encounter in my early days when I didn't start business yet. I was a milkman then. And I used to pass a Jamaican Superette. Superette is like a small supermarket. And I says, Roy, how do you start something like this? And he started telling me, rent is high, electricity is high, everything is high, but yet it's in bit. Now, what I'm trying to show you, don't be selfish. Somebody asks you a question. It's better you tell the person, listen, I'm not going to tell you, but don't tell me, discourage me. Encourage a person because it's a big world we live in. There's enough to go around, So that's what I'm trying to tell you.
Thank you. You have questions? Question in the round behind and then in the front.
Oh, my name is Owen Hill. I'm a student of cohort 20, MSBM. The question I have ideally is, it sounds like you have a very successful business, which is very good. But I was asking which other businesses or business, local or international, you actually admire and why exactly you admire these businesses.
Well, just to tell you what is happening today, things has changed a lot from, days when I know manual work. We're in a technological age now. Everything is technological. And stay in school, do your math, because that's where it's going, it's heading. You should admire those people who are in technology. Look what is happening with all the technologies today. Look on your cell phone. It's like your computer in your hand. That's where technology is going. So I admire technology for that because there's no turning back. There's no going back manual. Technology is where the key is. Okay?
My name is Neville Graham, and I'm an entrepreneur. I passed through your program, and it has helped me a lot. My question is, where my business is right now. By the way, I do sheep. I distribute lamb meat and slaughter and raise sheep, all those things. But the question I want to ask is, I'm in the stage of my business where I do most of everything. I do my own accounting, I do the slaughtering, I oversee production, I do a lot of things in the business. And I know for the business to grow, I have to kind of let go. But I find it very hard. What advice would you give me in terms of, letting people handling other aspects of the business?
At one time in my life, and even now still, I was similar to what you're doing. I mix my spice myself, and I just didn't want to give away that formula. So I still mix it myself, but it comes a time when I have to give it on, pass it on to somebody else. You alone cannot do everything. If I try to do everything, but you have to start from small and gradually grow and employ people to take over it. Because if you try to do everything, something is going to go bad. There's, like they said, there's too many irons in the fire, some going to get burned. So you have to hire people who are knowledgeable in the field. Like your accountant, you need an accountant. You don't want a shoemaker, So you got to hire the right people, and they will steer you in the right direction. I'm very fortunate that when I look back in 39 years when I started, I only had one little desk, and I was doing everything like you said you're doing now. But I've grown and grown, and you hire people, and now you find that life is easier. But, you still got to make money. You got to do your accounting and make sure that the profit is there. Otherwise, you can't hire people.
My name is Ian Ellis from Cohort 20, MSBM. I was very eager to ask this question. I had to run and get the microphone. Because there's a recurring theme in all your answers, almost all your answers. You said, the good Lord helped you. I'm very curious to find out how important is he to you. You have obviously highlighted him, capital H-I-M. Where did it start? What's your experience with your faith? Share with us, please.
I'm glad you asked that because it's a very good question you asked. And I do have an experience where the good Lord, when I got the letter from the Department of Sanitation that they need that space, that 15,000 square feet that I just rented, I said, what's the good Lord is doing to me? He doesn't want me to prosper. Because I'm serious. And then I was so distraught because now I got my USD approval just to fix up the place now, and then I could sell party legally. And now he's taking that away from me. I said, I just couldn't understand what he's doing. And I said, good Lord, I don't think you're helping me. I told him that. But I didn't realize that he had something better for me. The Department of Sanitation, they bought the old equipment that I have, and I found a bigger place not too far from there in Mount Vernon. And I went to the bank again. The bank said, we're not in the real estate business. The building is $1 million. We'll give you $600,000. So I said, well, we need $400,000. So I went back to the sellers, and the seller says, they had a conference, and they says, okay, we're going to take a chance on him. And, you know, we bought the building, and then the bank gave us money to fix it up and all that. So, but there's a different story that I have now, that when we were moving from the 2,500 square feet to a bigger place, the 20,000 now, the 20,000 we just bought, we did that, we fixed it up, and we start operating, and we run out of space again. And the good Lord says, boy, you need more space. So what he did, the inspector he gave me, his inspector was so picky that I caught up with him one day. One of my machine, I only had one machine then, and the belt was fraying, and you know, he stopped me from working. I lost a whole half a day. So I said, Inspector, you could have stopped me, cut it off, and just wash it again. But what the good Lord was doing, he was setting me up to go to a bigger place. So he put the inspector on top of me. And you know what the inspector name was? Inspector Police. So I never forget one morning I was in the plant, and the phone rang, and I answered. He said, this is Inspector Police. Can I speak with Charles? So I went to Charles. I said, Charles, what did you do now? But anyway, what is happening? He was on top of me, and I said, you know something? I think this guy is going to close me down. And I called up my real estate guy, and I said, I need a bigger place. Don't know where the money was coming from. But we found a property, 10 acres, 73,000 square feet, for $2.5 million. And the bank was okay with me now because I prepaid my bill. And they loaned me the money. And it was almost like a foreclosure because the owner had bought it for about $4 million. And he got some financial problem, and so I got it from. But it's got to show you that when this Inspector Police went on top of me, I couldn't see what was happening, that the good Lord wanted me to get a bigger place. And that's where we are now. And this place that we had bought with the 73,000 square feet, I had 30,000 square feet to it, making 100,000 square feet. And now I'm thinking to add another 50,000 square feet. So it shows you how the good Lord works, you know. He works in a mysterious way.
Yes, first of all, let me welcome Dr. HoSang to Jamaica. I saw him most recently when I was ambassador in Washington at the Pen Relays. And to mention that one of the traditions, of course, is to feed all the athletes that come from the Caribbean and perform at the Pen Relays. And he was personally doing this, and he and his daughter were lifting their boxes and all kinds of things, attending to our athletes. So it's not theoretical. This is just one of the things we do. We also have in the room tonight, we have a class going in business in a global environment that's running concurrently. So you're part of our class. And this half of the room belongs, there may be 70 persons or so in the class that are here and are eager to hear this contribution to how we do business in the global environment. So what I would ask in a very general way then would be, what advice would you give to these students, cohort 20, who are considering various projects of how they internationalize? Should they go to a close area, contiguous area, Caribbean, elsewhere in Latin America, and certainly the US markets, which some Jamaican companies have gone to? Also in the context that we're seeing the world changing from globalization, open markets, and so on, to some threats of restrictions and so on. We see it happening in Brexit, and we see the emergence in our neighbor in the north. So is there any advice that you could give to my class on how they would approach this topic?
First, you have to know what are you offering and who are you offering it to. Age group, whoever you're offering it to, it must be somebody that use your product. The next thing you want to do is you never want to borrow more than you can pay back. There's a saying, you buy too much, it'll choke you. You eat, So that's where you have to do. You should start out small. You grow and you grow and you grow, and then you borrow as you go along. That's what we have been doing. And when I started paddy business, I know that I couldn't go wrong in New York because I know my client was there. And so I chose New York to do that. And so you got to choose who you're going to sell to or who you're going to service to and give them quality service. That's all I can say. Thank you.
Yes, go ahead.
Good evening, Dr. HoSang. I'm Tony Ann Reed from Cohort 20, and I'd like to find out if there are any institutions that actually helped you to forge your way outside of the financial institutions. Is there, and your older brother naturally, are there any institutions that young entrepreneurs could go to in the US markets or even in the Jamaican market, wherever you found them, that could help you to understand what it is that you needed to do to become as successful as you are?
Well, sometimes they said, hard work never hurts. You start a business, you work hard, you put in ungodly hours, and you pray to the Almighty God to direct your path, because He will. And He will test your faith also, the way He has tested mine. And He's still testing my faith. But, the good Lord is good. And what you have to do is you do your due diligence. Make sure that you go to the right people. For example, if you're going to get somebody to fix your television, you don't go to a carpenter. He doesn't know anything about television. So you got to go to... I remember when I started business, there was a white lady I was selling milk to. And I said to her, what do you think about paddies? You think paddies will say? She doesn't know what I call a paddy. I'm asking the wrong person. So you've got to ask the right person for the right answer.
Good night. Name is Sean Johnson from Cohort 20 as well. With a new president of the U.S., recently elected Donald Trump, do you think he will adversely affect your business in any way at all?
I guess we're getting into politics now, which we didn't want to go into politics. But however, it's a good question you asked there. Many people don't like Donald, as you know. But what he portrayed that he's going to do, I think if even 50% of it comes through, he's going to be a winner. He wants to lower taxes, and taxes is too high in the States. I am in the 48% bracket. Every dollar I earn, I only get 52 cents out of it. And I think it's a disgrace. I could have improved my business better if the tax was lower. You want to do something about health care? It's a shame. You know, each person I hire, it's over $10,000 a year for one person. And we have 120-something people there, more than that. What is three or four things. He wants to keep the job back into the States. He's now talking to the automotive people. And if he does what he says he's going to do, I think America is going to be a better world. And I'm working. It wouldn't affect our business. It makes it better because he's cutting my taxes, lowering my taxes. And, you know, I think he's on the right path. A lot of people may not see that, but again, I didn't want to go into politics, but I must say that I did vote it for him because
I just wanted to I want to skip the politics and just make one quick comment on the institutions for the young lady who...
Oh, my apologies.
Right. You know, one of the things I just want to share with you, my observation, having read the book and been in business myself, that the greatest institution really is family. And that's really what resonates throughout the book. And it doesn't really matter whether you're in the US or in Jamaica. It's that network that starts with your family and your close friends. And when we work with a lot of entrepreneurs here, there's a greater demand to trust each other. Just like Vinny had said, help each other. That's probably one of the greatest opportunities to plug in and create success. So I just wanted to encourage you.
Thank you.
It can be done here.
Yes.
Gio, your turn.
All right, my time now? All right, evening everyone. I'm an entrepreneur. I was a participant in the business competition in your honor, sir. And I was very intrigued by when you mentioned that your motivation did not come from wanting more money, but it came from wanting to take your place in the world. And I wanted to know if you could share with us just how you came to that realization that for you it wasn't about the money, but it was about fulfillment. And could you share how you got to that perspective?
I always said, you know, and the Bible tell you that you should humble yourself and you should be exalted, you know. I don't like to see somebody who is a show-off person. If the good Lord has helped you to be prosperous financially, thank Him for that. Don't show off, you know. And that is what I want to say about that. Be humble yourself and help each other. Again, we are brothers and sisters. Whoever does well should help the others. That's what I want to tell you.
Good evening, Dr. HoSang, Todd Johnson of Cohort 20. We talk about the world changing and so forth. And I'd like to know your take on innovation, the innovative culture within your company. Because we see where Uber is one of the largest taxi companies in the world and they don't own a single taxi. Or Netflix not owning a cinema and turning your living room into a cinema. So just an insight on what you plan to do or where you see things going in your industry.
Not what I plan to do, but what I've been doing for many years. I know that technology is the way of the future. And many years ago, I employ technology, robotic, to help us with the processing and the packaging of our product. And right now, I have equipment, about $2 million worth of equipment sitting in a warehouse that I need to install from September last year. The reason why we haven't done that yet is because we are building an inventory because the sales has gone up so greatly that we have to go into a second shift and we can't even support the demand that we have. So those machines are robotic and we're moving forward into those ages. You may think that is going to get rid of people. What it will do, it will make the work easier for people because I've known workers who tell me, you know, sir, I have carpal tunnel in my hand. And now the machine will pack that for you. All you have to do is operate the machine. So again, there's no turning back with this robotic. You know, there's cars going to come out without drivers, you know, and the technology is on and on and on. So for those who are in business and does not want to spend the money, but they want to hoard the money, they're going to be left behind.
Good evening, Erica Horton from Mona Office for Research and Innovation, and also a participant in a family business. And I noted, Mr. HoSang, that your daughter is very critical to your current business and how the operations are going. And my question really is about succession planning, because one of the challenges I have is bringing new ideas to my father. He's very resistant to change. How do you, how do you balance, you know, the new ideas, the youth involvement in your business, and how do you, you know, manage your succession planning?
Well, I've done that now. You know, I've done that for quite a few years now. We have brought the children in, and but I know they don't want to get their hands dirty like I do, and they don't want to get up early in the morning like I did. So, but young people have different innovation, and you cannot count them out, because they will show you better ways of doing things. And we can't live forever. And when I'm no longer here, I just hope my children will continue the business, because I build a foundation for them, and I'm hoping that they will continue the legacy. Thank you.
Last question.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Carolyn Bucker Johnson. I'm also one of the students in cohort 20 MBA. The young man in front, he asked about what advice you could give him to launch out and not be totally self-reliant. And one of the things you said was that he needs to employ people. I just want to know what your leadership style has been. Employing, you say you now have 120-something employees. What type of leadership style you have implemented to cause your employees to help you to be as successful as you are?
You got to treat your employees as family, you know. You cannot think that, you know, you're going to be here and they're going to be down there. Many of our employees come to us and they have financial problems. Their mortgage is due, their student loan is due, things like that. So we help. I'm sorry, you got to treat your workers as though you treat your brothers and sisters or your daughters and sons, and they will stay. You got to pay them a good salary. You got to give them the benefits. Otherwise, they're not going to stay, and they'll be more loyal to you when you do those things. And what I do personally, even though I'm sitting in the bigger chair, I personally bring bread from them for them all the time. I make certain that they have bread to eat, and they have free coffee every day, and they can have free patties. You got to treat them like family, and don't think that they're below you. They're never be. We're all blood and flesh, and that's the way you should treat them, and you'll get good results out of them.
Thank you very much, Vinny. We're going to close this section by reading a section from the prologue, and then I'll ask Jan to come up and move our vote of thanks. Page 4. Like my products, I mean to use only the best ingredients for my readers, including generous heaps of personal anecdotes, moderate dashes of practical examples, and a hint of personal philosophy. The arena of life is both scary and exhilarating. It takes courage not only to show up, but to stay and battle all that will come your way. You'll face the naysayers, the takers, and opponents who fight dirty. You'll face your share of mistakes, anxiety, and failure. No one gets it right all the time. At the other end of the spectrum, you'll encounter the extended hands, the helpful words of advice, and the unexpected allies. Then, at some point, you will look up wipe away the sweat, see your rewards before you, and wonder why you wasted time stuck in fear. This is just a snippet of what value has been shared. It's an extraordinary opportunity to be here with you, Vinny. We thank you. And I'm going to turn over to Jan.
Good night, everyone. What a good event we've had, and what a wonderful time hearing the life story of our beloved Vincent HoSang. So let me begin firstly then by thanking him for taking the time to come and share with us, and beyond tonight to thank him for his investment in the student population of the University of the West Indies. For those who don't know, for the past 14 years, he has been the benefactor of a student competition, the UE Vincent HoSang competition, where students come up with their business ideas, they pitch to a group of judges and mentors and sponsors, and then they are able to win prizes. But not only prize money, but also the mentorship and the guidance that they get through the process has been phenomenal. And we've had some graduates here. We have had Neville, who spoke earlier, Giovanni spoke, and Kadim is here as well. These are past members of the program of whom we're very proud. So we just want to say thanks to you for investing in our students. Thanks too for everyone who has come, and I want to especially mention the members of cohort 20. Ambassador Ralph, thanks for taking the class members here. And for your participation, which really helped to make the evening as good as it has been. Thanks to Dougie and Jimmy for their able leadership through the interview process, which helped us to really get a grasp of what is in the book, and more so of Mr. HoSang's heart and what motivates him. I also want to thank the technical support team. We have Markland here, we have members of the media here, UETV who is covering. Thank you for helping us out. I want to thank the Medical Sciences Complex for allowing us to use this room, and also the planning committee, Dawn Morgan and Justine Harrison, for their work in putting this together in very short order. In fact, I won't tell you, very, very short order, but as usual, they bring a touch of elegance to every event that they work with. So thank you very much. We have some refreshments outside, so without further ado, thank you so much. And Mr. HoSang is available to talk and mingle, so speak with him.
Right. I just wanted to add, Jan, that the Vincent HoSang Family Foundation also has donated 30 books that are going to be issued through the School of Business office. We asked especially our students and members of the cohort of our Vincent HoSang program to make sure you sign the register, identify yourself, because it is a must-have. I think Dr. HoSang and his team, who is the other member, the partner in crime with our team here, is Jan Julian. Jan, you can stand for us. I mean, amazing lady. I just want to give her a round of applause. Because we're working to get the distribution sorted out for the books to be more easily available in Jamaica. So again, thank you, Jan.
Right now, they're available on Amazon.com, but we are trying to make an arrangement for a local distributor here. And changeoffortune.com, but we're trying to make some local arrangements so you can have it. So the books that are here, just so you know, are designated for the students who are participants in the Vincent HoSang competition. So don't storm the table. But you can read a book back or something like that. So thank you again for coming, and please join us for some refreshment outside.